Okay, I'm just finishing up teaching for the night. I'm still at my teaching studio. You can probably hear the voice lessons going on next door. But I wanted to make a video about an understanding that I have come to rather recently in drumming. So the term and idea of orbital motion in drumming was something I first heard from Neil Peart in his Work in Progress DVD. And according to him, it's something that he learned in his time with Freddie Gruber. I haven't necessarily seen anyone else describe it with those words, but I have certainly seen it, the concept referenced in other pieces speaking about Freddie. And I never really understood what that meant until it was just a few weeks ago. And this realization happened for me in particular in regards to Moeller. So here's my thinking about this right now. So when we look at a very kind of classical style of technique, Germanic grip, based off of a wrist stroke that's up, down, and returning. That's very much a straight line motion. In fact, if I turn so that the tip of my stick is pointing towards the camera here, you'll notice as I play that, the stick is very much going up and down in almost a perfectly straight line. Now, when we start talking about drum set playing and groove and timekeeping, I think this idea of straight line motions starts to become an obstacle, because if I play time, if I just play a simple groove and I play time with that motion, I get this. And I don't know about you, but that doesn't feel like a groove, and I don't think anyone would ever want to dance to that. Now, so for me, I've always found that using Moeller in timekeeping has been a great way of introducing some fluidity and some feel into the groove. If we compare, as opposed to if I start to use some Moeller, all of a sudden, now we're starting to have some feel and some time sense to it. But here's the thing. Look, if I rotate again, if we look at this path that the tip of the stick is following now, you'll notice it's no longer a straight line. It's elliptical. I'm still hitting essentially the same spot on the pad, or close enough to get the same sound out of a cymbal. But instead of just traveling up and down, I'm now traveling in it's a very tight ellipse, but it is an ellipse. And so I think, in my mind, this is what Freddie was talking about in regards to orbital motion. And why is this important? Well, if we look at playing straight up and down, that energy has to come to a complete stop at each point of that line. It has to stop at the top so it can come back down, and it has to stop at the bottom and get pushed back up. Oh, battery dying. And get pushed back up by the rebound. So that energy never has a chance to build momentum. It's always being forced to reverse direction. But if we play elliptically, that becomes a constant motion. And the momentum is constantly being built up, and it's never reversed. And again, it's a tight ellipse. I think that was why I never understood what this orbital motion concept meant before, because I was looking for big circular motion, and I don't think it's quite that. But I think it's just a concept of getting closer to that than a straight line. And also, this is another thing that relating to jazz, we often will see the same thing. Rather than, it's very hard to swing just playing a straight up and down motion. That doesn't swing. That does not swing. But if we start to use and again, that whole thing starts to become an ellipse. It has some feel to it. So that was just something that I thought was interesting and a bit of an epiphany for me, so I wanted to share it.